Alright, this is a follow-up to the reciprocal roof frame video that I put up before, and it's putting that type of construction into a practical application. In my case, I want to build a structure over a little sugaring operation that I use to boil down maple sap into maple syrup every winter, and it'd be nice to have a cover over this whole operation. So I figured a very cute timber frame project, just simple, with a reciprocal frame over it might be just the ticket. It'd be a fun project to sort of do as a first approach. So the beginning of this is a 16-foot square timber frame, pretty basic, 6x6 posts, 6x8 main beams, and some, in this particular thing I've got 6x6 crossing beams, but that's not as important as the things I'm trying to explore with the reciprocal roof frame and how to basically finish it off. So let's add the reciprocal roof frame here, and now you can see I'm using a basic 4x8 beam, assuming it's going to be native timber, probably native pine, and I wanted to use something conventional. You don't get much of a pitch with this reciprocal frame. The square down the middle is about 3 feet square, and the tricky part of this thing is that joint right there at the corner where the thing bears on the post. You've got several timbers coming together. I'm not going to explore how to solve those timber issues here. I'm really trying to address the whole issue of how do you finish off a reciprocal roof frame and put a normal looking roof on it, or maybe a not so normal looking roof. In this case, it's going to be a pretty conventional hip roof. The first problem is, how do you send a standard common rafter off of these plates? Where is it going to meet something to get to work with the reciprocal frame, with this sort of skewed square hole that lends itself to a cupola type thing, or a venting hole, whatever, for a chimney. And I figure you want to launch some kind of a square structure above that, and to do that you've got to establish a level platform to begin with. So the way I did it, and I think I've seen this in some of the books on reciprocal framing, is I placed in these areas some wedges, and there are the wedges right there, which flatten off, give you a level launch area for whatever you're going to put there to launch your roof frame against. And I drew in just a pretty generic cupola to show what you can do to get started. Now what you've got now is a cupola at a skewed angle to the square structure below, but you can frame a fairly typical hip roof structure in there, which I did with this roofing plan. And the hip rafters come into the side of the of the little cupola thing, and then just some conventional framing members that come from there. And if you look at it from above, take perspective off, you can see that's a pretty standard roof frame. So now you've established a roof frame, and cover it up with a roof so that it looks like a finished structure, and then you get underneath it and you can see how cool this whole thing is. So again, what I've solved with this for myself is launching a level platform off the top of the reciprocal frame, in this case a 4-member reciprocal frame based on a square starting point. I have not worked out the issues with these joints where the beams come together at the bottom, but I've solved that problem, and I think the next step will be to go on and create those timber joints and then see what happens.